Alright guys, it's William jumping here. So after we have got our data and we're going to get the specific data and store that in the X and Y, then we can start training. Okay, so a good way to store our data is to store that in a certain variable. So we already got that in a data set and we can split that. Okay, so we can use ilog to maneuver our data set. So data set essentially is data frame. So if you are not so sure about that, you can use type. Okay, and once you run, you can see that it's the pandas core frame data frame. So you're going to use pandas to get that. Okay, so once you got that data set, you can data set dot ilog. This is just a functionality that you can use to locate that. Okay, so for example, you want to get this, just bear with me, it's a little bit weird syntax, but yeah, you'll get what I mean. Okay, so if you got that and you separate, remember you need to separate that, and you use this, you use ilog, and essentially you just got everything. Okay, so you got the every row all the way to 29 and every column unnamed. This is sort of like the index. Okay, so like the ID of different people, and we got these years of experience and salary, and most of the time we do not need the salary to coming out. So what I'm going to do is to, because salary is what I try to predict. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is to just get rid of the salary. Okay, so -1, and you can see that I just get rid of salary. What does it mean? Okay, so if you use this, means that there is no starting point, there is no ending point, just everything. I want everything. Okay, so if you want a certain starting point, you are going to start from 0 and all the way to a certain point. Okay, so if you're not sure about the ending point, you can just -1, which means that you want the last column deleted. You just want to choose everything else. Okay, so if I want to get the say the unnamed, what I'm going to do and get rid of the years of experience, you can just do -2. Okay, and you can start running this, and it's allocating. So yeah, you need to wait a little bit, because you know the Colab is not too stable. If you stay idle a little bit time, and it would just release that resources and reallocate you another one. Okay. Alright, I rerun that service, and if you just got the service disconnected and you want to rerun that, first is that you close and reopen that Colab. This notebook will be saved, but the instance that is sort of a backend service may be shut down, so you need to restart all this process again. So you might need to rerun every part of the code. Okay, so yeah, essentially you just need to let me get this just a setting. Let me just get everything out. Okay, so you are going to run everything. Okay, so you're going to run all. Okay, or you can use shortcut. Essentially you need to execute all this import and the data, and yeah, okay, and then you can continue to do that. Okay, so so if I like to get rid of this years of experience, and you can get a -2. Okay, so you can see, just get rid of this column and you got this unnamed. Okay, and of course you can get this say the first, starting from the second column rather than first. You start from 1. Okay, and you just get rid of index or ID, and you got this automatic index here. This is like the actual row number. If you want to get rid of the experience, years of experience, but just to leave the salary, you can just use this one. Okay, so remember, all start from 0 in programming. So yeah. Okay, once you got this basic maneuver of the dataset, we are going to store this data into two containers. The first is called X, and the other is called Y. It's not necessarily just the like the simple linear regressions X and Y. Okay, but we use the X as the sort of the data that you put into that model, and Y as the sort of the output that you want to get from that model. So it's a lot like the sort of a meta X and meta Y rather than the actual X and Y that we learn at school. Okay, so this is one thing that's a little bit different from textbook. Okay, so yeah, this is just a machine learning lingo. So yeah, let me explain that. So if you at school, you might think that let me get you a text field so you can see. You might think that y equals to say sort of maybe a and x, right, and plus b, something like that. This is just a simple linear regression model, and yeah, but in machine learning, for example, you use the sklearn, something like that, and you are going to put the, or even though it's a multivariate model, you still got x. Okay, so you just need to put everything except the output line. In our case, is the salary. Not line, sorry, salary column. Except the salary column, you put everything else into your model. And of course, you don't need this unnamed column, so let's just get the years of experience into that model. And yeah, so essentially you want to get rid of this first column and the last column, because the last column is the output, the first column just the index. You don't need that because you already got that sort of index. So yeah, so it's redundant. So let's try to do that. So it's not nothing like that. So we are going to put everything that you want to train that to the x and the output to y. In this case, we're going to get, I think this is the text field. This is rather the coding field. So what I'm going to do is to use x to store that information. Okay, so you can use this x or capitalize the x. It does not matter. Okay, so I'm going to use the capitalized x just to make it a little bit different. Okay, so once you got that data set, and use ilog, okay, and then you want to get rid of the yeah, every row. I want every row to have it, but the column would be different. So the column would be starting from the second, so the first and start from 0. So I'm going to the second. Okay, so it start from 1 all the way to the you can use actual number here, which will be because you do not need the last one here, so you might need I think maybe 3, because you're not including 3, so it's 2. Okay, and but that's a little bit hard for you to imagine, so my personal theory is just -1, because you might get a lot of column here, so you don't know actually how many column are there. Okay, so once you got that, you want to get the actual values of it, and you store that in x. Okay, so you can run that and successfully storing this x, and of course you can print this x out to see what's going on. Okay, and you can see that you store this info here, and I think it's sort of experience, years of experience, right? And you just store this years of experience in, and that will be our x, and then you can use the same method. Let me just quickly got that. You can use the same method to get all this y here, which would be the output. So let me just quickly change that to output is just the last one. So this I'm not going to get that, but rather the last one, and got this all this value. Okay, once I got that, I'm going to print this y out. Okay, so we got the y info out, And yeah, I don't need this one, sorry. I just need the specific last column out. So of course, when you rerun that and you print that, you sort of override y, okay? And yeah, that will be the last column. And yeah, then you got x and y, then you can start to split the data to a train test, and you start using your model to find the best fit, okay?